Chapter 7. Wildfires. Wildfire emissions in 2020 essentially negate 18 years of reductions in GHG emissions from other sectors by a factor of 2. California has a significant wildfire problem that has been intensifying in recent years due to prolonged drought, which has led to dry and dead vegetation that fuels fires to spread quickly, and increasing population and development in wildfire-prone areas. The Golden State has experienced some of the largest and most destructive wildfires in recent years, causing significant damage to property, infrastructure, the environment, and, most devastatingly, loss of life. California's wildfire problem is an issue that will require all hands on deck to solve. However, the good news is we can deliver a comprehensive and coordinated response from government agencies, communities, and individuals through common-sense conservative principles. The memories of the devastating mudslides on January 9, 2018, in Santa Barbara and Montecito, California, will be etched in my mind forever. I was quickly evacuated from the area at the time, leaving my college campus for safety up north. It did not stop there. Just a few weeks later, the aftermath of the wildfire that had burned over 280,000 acres of land in Santa Barbara County resulted in charred hillsides devoid of any vegetation to absorb rainwater, making the area more vulnerable to erosion and debris flow. When heavy rainfall hit the area, the hillsides quickly became saturated and the water cascaded down, forming mud and debris flows that destroyed everything in their path. Lives were lost, and the community changed permanently. In the 1970s and 80s, officials advised expanding the local debris basins to help mitigate these issues, but the devastating oil spill off the Santa Barbara coast triggered strong opposition from the community to any project that threatened the natural environment. Plans for big debris basins or concrete storm channels suddenly faced resistance, and the result of nearly 50 years of neglect was catastrophic. The once beautiful neighborhoods of Santa Barbara were now ghost towns filled with mud and debris, leaving families homeless and lives shattered. I remember going door to door, volunteering for a congressional campaign, only to find blocks of abandoned homes filled with mud. It was a haunting sight that left me feeling helpless and heartbroken. The sad reality is that all of this could have been prevented if we had managed our land better and reduced the size of the original wildfire. Another major contributor to California's wildfire problem is the buildup of fuel in forests following a century of fire suppression policies and an ongoing need for more active forest management. Fire suppression policies have resulted in dead vegetation and small trees accumulating, creating a dense and combustible environment that significantly increases the risk of wildfires. The lack of active forest management has also resulted in overgrown and unhealthy forests, making them more susceptible to fires starting in the first place. Consequently, there are now significant, intense fires that are difficult to control and wreak damage on property, infrastructure, and the environment. The expansion of human development into wildfire-prone areas is another major contributor to the state's wildfire problem. As housing becomes more challenging to build within developed communities, builders have no option but to build outside of these and into the forest and natural areas, making them highly vulnerable to wildfire. Therefore, as more people move into these areas, the risk of fire ignition increases, and so does the potential for damage and loss of life. This can lead to widespread damage, displacement, and loss of life, as was seen in recent years with devastating wildfires such as the Camp Fire and the Tubbs Fire. The impacts of California's wildfire problem are significant and far-reaching. They have caused property damage and loss of homes, businesses, and other structures, loss of life, injury, and trauma for residents and first responders. Environmental damage, including loss of wildlife habitat and damage to air and water quality. Economic impacts, including loss of jobs, tourism, and revenue for local communities. Disruption of transportation and other essential services. And mental health impacts for residents who have been affected by the fires. Not to mention, these factors contribute to the growing concern that insurance carriers are leaving the state in droves, making it even more difficult for Californians to rebuild and recover. In recent years, the frequency and severity of natural disasters have increased, leading to a rise in insurance claims and payouts. As a result, many insurance companies have been forced to leave the state or significantly reduce their coverage options, leaving Californians with limited choices and higher premiums. The departure of insurance carriers from the state has also led to increased regulatory scrutiny and pressure on the remaining companies to provide affordable and adequate coverage to homeowners. Overall, California's wildfire problem is a complex and growing issue requiring a multifaceted approach to tackle. This includes efforts to prevent and suppress fires and long-term solutions such as active forest management, land use planning, and climate change adaptation. California is in the midst of a devastating wildfire crisis, and we must take urgent action to address it. The current policies and laws are failing us, and it's time for bold changes. Our state is home to millions of people, and the destruction caused by wildfires can be catastrophic, resulting in loss of life, property damage, and environmental degradation. To fix this problem, we need to approach it with a sense of urgency and determination. This means taking a hard look at our policies and laws and making the necessary changes to prevent and mitigate the risk of fires. We must prioritize the safety of our communities and ensure that our resources are protected for future generations. The stakes are high, and the time for action is now. We can no longer afford to ignore this crisis and hope that it will go away. We must take decisive action to fix our policies and laws and to create a sustainable future for California. Some solutions include: manage our land. It's up to us to decrease the likelihood of destructive, high-severity fires and bolster the strength of California's forests. Implementing active land management practices is a vital component in achieving this attainable goal. One solution to reducing the risk of wildfires is implementing widespread thinning and prescribed burning of our land. Thinning is the process of removing small-diameter trees, which provide fuel for fires. Prescribed burning is the controlled burning of underbrush, which helps reduce the buildup of fuels and create fire breaks that slow or stop the spread of a fire. In addition to thinning and prescribed burning, mechanically removing small-diameter trees can also reduce fuel loads. This can be done through logging or using specialized equipment designed to remove small trees quickly and efficiently. Under current legislation, the Department of Forestry and Fire Protection is required to develop and administer various forest improvement and fire prevention programs in California. However, more needs to be done to prevent wildfires and protect our communities. Legislation to expand this vital strategy, such as California Assembly Bill 19, Vegetation Management, has been introduced in the past, but unfortunately died in the California legislature. This bill would have established a $25 million general fund grant program to help county road maintenance departments and local fire protection districts purchase vegetation management equipment to prevent wildfires along county-maintained streets and roads within high and very high fire hazard severity zones. We cannot afford to let these vital strategies die in the legislature any longer. Expanding the capabilities of local districts to fight overgrowth is critical to our overall wildfire prevention strategy and will help protect our communities from the devastating effects of wildfires. Let's not be mistaken. Land management is not just the responsibility of government agencies. Ranchers, farmers, landowners, and businesses should also be empowered to manage their land to reduce the risk of wildfires. This can include reducing fuel buildup through controlled burns, thinning overgrown forests, and removing dead trees and debris. Historically, active land management in California has been hindered by stringent environmental regulations, thanks in large part to environmental lobbyists in Sacramento, making it difficult to effectively manage the state's forests and reduce the risk of significant and high-severity wildfires. The complex network of laws and regulations, combined with competing interests and limited resources, has made it challenging to carry out the necessary management activities that are critical to increasing the resilience of the state's forests. This has resulted in overgrown land, an increase in dead and dry vegetation buildup, and conditions that make fires more intense, widespread, and difficult to control. The challenge of balancing the need for conservation with the need for active land management is significant. We need to simplify our environmental regulations so that landowners can easily and responsibly remove excess brush and vegetation from their property. Active land management is a critical tool in reducing the risk of wildfires in California. By thinning forests, implementing controlled burns, and empowering private landowners and businesses to manage their land, we can create more resilient forests and reduce the risk of high-severity fires. Fire-wise communities. Fire-wise communities are essential to reducing the risk of wildfire damage. A fire-wise community is a neighborhood or community that is proactive in reducing the risk of fire damage to homes and structures. This proactive approach involves creating defensible space around homes, which is an area within 100 feet of a structure that is cleared of flammable vegetation and other materials able to ignite during a fire. The goal of creating defensible space is to slow the spread of fire and give firefighting crews a better chance to save homes and structures in the event of a wildfire. Homeowners play a critical role in creating fire-wise communities by creating defensible spaces around their homes. This can include removing flammable vegetation, such as dry grass, bushes, and trees, and replacing them with fire-resistant plants. It is also essential to clear away dead vegetation, leaves, and debris that can fuel a fire. In addition, homeowners can make their homes more fire-resistant by installing fire-resistant roofing materials, keeping gutters and eaves clear of debris, and storing firewood at least 30 feet away from home. For instance, consider the 2017 Lilac Fire and the steps taken by my condo community to establish a fire-wise environment. I've witnessed firsthand how homeowners have played a critical role in clearing and replacing flammable vegetation. It's been inspiring to see how everyone came together to make our community more resilient to future fires. It's a collective effort, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Beyond individual homeowners, communities can also contribute to creating fire-safe neighborhoods. This can include encouraging public buildings like libraries and schools to create defensible space around their property, educating residents about the importance of fire-resistant landscaping and building materials, and implementing fire-resistant building codes. In some areas, fire-wise communities can also organize community-wide fuel reduction efforts, such as controlled burns, to reduce fire risk. When it comes to reducing the risk of wildfire damage to homes and structures, fire-wise communities hold an enormous responsibility and opportunity. By embracing a proactive approach, these communities can make a real difference in the face of wildfire danger. Creating defensible space, combined with education and outreach efforts focused on fire safety, are crucial steps in ensuring that homes and structures are better equipped to withstand ravaging wildfires. Furthermore, these efforts also play a vital role in reducing the likelihood of fire ignition and spread, helping to keep communities safe and secure. By taking a proactive and collaborative approach to fire safety and management, fire-wise communities can make a tangible and lasting impact on the health and well-being of their residents and the environment.
In evacuation planning, wildfires cause significant damage to communities and to the environment. It is therefore important to have effective early warning systems in place to quickly detect and respond to these incidents. Early warning systems for wildfires can include warning equipment such as weather satellites and weather conditions that may lead to a fire. Fire lookouts and aircraft such as fire spotting planes can detect and report fires at an early stage. Community-based fire warning systems, such as the Community Wildfire Protection Plan, can also play a critical role in early warning by establishing a network of trained residents equipped to detect and report fires. This helps ensure that fires are spotted quickly, allowing firefighters to respond in a timely manner and reduce the impact of these disasters on people and the environment. In addition to early warning systems, evacuation planning is also an important aspect of preparedness for wildfires. Effective evacuation plans ensure that residents and communities can safely evacuate their homes and properties in the event of a wildfire. This may involve developing evacuation routes, establishing emergency shelters, and providing information to residents on how to prepare for and respond to a wildfire. However, as California's population continues to grow, so does the urbanization of previously undeveloped wildland areas. This expansion outward means it becomes increasingly difficult to create effective evacuation plans, as there are more homes and communities to account for. For example, the 2018 Camp Fire in Butte County was the deadliest and most destructive wildfire in California's history, and the most expensive natural disaster in the world in 2018 in terms of insured losses, resulting in the evacuation of approximately 52,000 people. The sheer volume of individuals who needed to evacuate in a short amount of time made it difficult for emergency responders to ensure everyone's safety. As we continue to develop outward, it is crucial that we prioritize wildfire prevention and preparedness efforts, including the development of effective evacuation plans to protect the lives and homes of Californians. No one should have to live in fear the way we currently do. By combining these strategies, our communities can better prepare for and respond to wildfires, reducing the impact of these disasters on people and the environment. Early warning systems and evacuation planning are essential components of an effective wildfire preparedness and response plan. In conclusion, the wildfire crisis in California is a pressing and ongoing issue demanding immediate and sustained action from all stakeholders. With each passing year, the threat of devastating fires grows, putting homes, communities, and precious natural resources at risk. However, by embracing a common-sense conservative approach to wildfire management, we can turn the tide. By prioritizing fire prevention, community education and engagement, and proactive land management, we can reduce the risk of fires, protect our communities and natural resources, and ensure that California remains a thriving and vibrant state for generations to come. The solution requires a unified and collaborative effort, but the benefits of a safer, more resilient California are well worth investing time and resources.